My marigolds and I welcome you to another Bhagavad Gita Sadhana. Marigolds during my time in India were often used in conjunction with spiritual practices and honoring the divine. So here we go. Good morning. Good whatever time it is for you. It's day 190. It's hard to believe, which means we're over halfway through this year-long sadhana. And please remember, free event Monday, 5:30 to 6:15 p.m. online, talking about my time in Arizona at the yoga therapy conference and talk about yoga, road runners, things like that. A wide range of topics. Elote. So you're all welcome to join. And I'm not going to have like a little halfway celebration for this particular sadhana. We'll have one around the 3/4 mark, so around the fall equinox. Stay tuned for that. Other events will come up before then. Samatvam. Being the same, being essentially the same in all situations is a harder concept to grasp than many of us realize when we start down the spiritual path. But most traditions expect or even demand this of us to make progress. We're in chapter 5 and looking at specific instances in the Gita where Samatvam, or being the same, is mentioned. And it's mentioned in many different ways, which is great because we can get a practical way to put this into our lives, not just ruminate on it in our heads, where it does some good, but bringing it into our lives, game changer. So I'll be chanting from chapter 5, verse 18. I'll do the poetic version first from Embracing the Song of Your Soul, and then I will also do the more literal translation with some Sanskrit. The sages see the same thing in a wise, humble priest, in a cow, in an elephant, in a dog, and in a man who eats a dog. It's a pretty strong statement to see the same thing in everything. That essentially the divine, the supreme, whatever we want to call it, consciousness is everywhere in every single being. And who are we to judge whether that consciousness is taking a more or less acceptable form? So in the more literal version, it goes like this. Pundits have some darshan of a wise, humble priest, of a cow, of an elephant, of a dog, and of a menial outcast. Sama means the same, and darshana means vision. And then the final line is not literally a man who eats a dog, but a lot of translators will translate the particular caste mentioned in this last line of the verse as dog eater. And I found that to be such a strong image that I included it, because for many people the world over, the thought of eating a dog is just repulsive. But, cultures all over the world eat different things. Some eat cats. So I could substitute seeing the same thing in a cat and in a person who eats a cat. Let me tell you, that would be very hard for me. This is challenging. To see the same, to treat everyone the same, to respect everyone the same. And some will say we shouldn't even do it, especially during, I tell you, the political season here. The United States just seems to go on. And the things you hear people spouting about other people running for office is just, usually calm, very nice people have their ideas. If we think back to this the Buddhist idea, which I've mentioned before, that you cannot receive that which you do not extend freely to others. If you're not willing to accept everyone, every being as inherently divine, then you will certainly not accept yourself as divine, and you will not receive acceptance from others. Every one of us has something that can be othered. Being a woman, I've experienced that. That happened just recently. I said something, man next to me says the same exact thing. Man, after I do, man gets like, ooh, that's great. Me, nothing. Women, this is pretty universal. I'm sure you understand. So then it's like tempting to go, oh, certain gender. I mean, we other different genders, we other different skin colors, we other different sexualities or lack of sexuality, we other. It just goes on and on. You can be othered by somebody else. And what's interesting is when people who do the othering get othered, to see their reaction. But we can all be othered or cast out for some quality that some other person deems to be significant, that we might be like, what's that have to do with anything? In the same way, I know this is hard. This is hard. It's hard. We have to learn how to be inclusive with everyone. 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 Weed, inclusive. Hi, weed. Weed. Plant. I mean, it's all over the place. So today, I encourage you to use this as your contemplation. Maybe to bring to mind someone you have a really hard time accepting, and try accepting. I would say accept, because Yoda says do or no do, there is no try, but it's very challenging. Let's give it a go, my friends. Switch. Contemplation time. Contemplate someone or something that you think is absolutely just horrific, atrocious, and can you develop an attitude of acceptance? Because remember, what we see outside of us as atrocious, when we look inside, if we see it there, we see ourselves as atrocious as well. Come on, friend. See you in 5. Welcome back. How did it go? I'm finding it challenging. So today I'm going to dedicate my practice to a being that came up very quickly in my mind as I sat contemplating the equal value of all, and that is, I'm dedicating this practice to those beetles who are eating who are eating the roses that I extend care to. Darn beetles. But you have just as much of the divine in you as I do. So you do your beetle thing, I'll do my gardener thing, and we'll see what happens. Ah, we'll see what happens next time. Until then, I salute the divine in you.